You go, Ted. Here you go.
We should go? Oh, okay. Hello, Lewis. Welcome to China. Tell us, Charles was just telling us that we found, the team has found some things, not at the level of McLaren, but we're closer than we've shown. So tell us about your approach to the weekend. What's on the to-do list? What are you wanting to get absolutely on point? And given that you have the best record around the circuit out of anyone with 6 wins.
I do.
You do?
Right.
Sure you remember all of them?
I definitely don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to work on setup, just trying to see if we can extract more from the car. There's definitely a huge amount of learnings from the last weekend of where the car likes to work and not. So I'm going to try to, I don't know what, again, each track I go to, I'm having to ask them about how they were last year here, what were their problems over the previous years. Because with this car and its characteristics will be different to what I've experienced over the past years. So trying to anticipate that, and we only have P1, so trying to anticipate that, trying to get the setup as close to perfect as possible before I get out.
Thank you.
Luis, how long do you think it will take to feel really home in the team, in the car, with all the communication stuff and that? How long will that take?
Well, I feel home in the team. I think the feeling at one with the car, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Lewis. These youngsters, they arrive here with a lot of expectations. Some of them real and sometimes completely unreal. How was it for you to win a Grand Prix at your first year in Formula One? Did you remember what it means to you?
Yeah, it was the greatest time. I mean, just getting a podium for my first Grand Prix was pretty crazy, and it just showed it for us as a family. It was kind of like, firstly, we've made it, and secondly, it made all those sleepless nights worth it. You know, all the hard times, and then getting a win, I think, just validated all the belief that we had in ourselves from for so many years, and that self-belief. And when all those voices of the negativity, the critics, the people that were, I say critics were probably like my teachers more so, or the other drivers' parents, to kind of lay that to rest and silence them was a great feeling.
Thank you.
Hey Lewis, how did you find your first couple of days with this new team debriefings? This would have been the first time you'd have gone through races, you would have started preparing for the next double header. Have you found that kind of process, which I imagine was very different maybe to what life was like at Mercedes?
It's not massively different, to be honest. We've had a good download. We're still going through stuff. We have great meetings with Fred. Fred's very engaged, and we sit down and talk about the different ways we want to approach things. And I'm still learning of how Fred and the team likes to operate and how they react to certain things you say, and trying to incorporate just lots of positive energy in all those discussions.
Thank you.
Yes, what's your state of mind after Australia? Because there is a lot of disappointment among the fan, if not resignation already.
Yeah.
In which way can you relax them?
Well, I mean, it has only been one race, and of course, even for me, that's not the result that I was hoping for. In pure performance, to be where we were was not spectacular. There are definitely, I don't think the car is necessarily at that pace. We just didn't extract it all. And then the race on Sunday was disastrous. So definitely painful for all of us. I think you can't let one race throw you off. You can't quit after one race or one loss. We come back fighting, and that's what we do best. So coming in here this weekend, we're optimistic. We've got our heads high. We're going to continue to push. We've got a good car and a good package. There's 1,000 different things impacting race weekends, and the thing is, like, we could have made a call, for example, in the strategy last weekend. If I'd come in 2 laps before and we would finish higher up, it would be a different discussion, right? But we still were lacking performance, and I think it's just about having perspective. We don't have to have. Rome wasn't built in one day. So we're just going to try and build on the foundations from testing. Learned a huge amount from last weekend, and it's what we do with that loss, and it's how we turn up weekend in, weekend out with our heads high and continue to push. It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up.
Hi. Sunday morning after the drivers' parade in Melbourne, Isack Hadjar asked for a selfie with you. A few hours later, unfortunately, he crashes on the warm-up lap. Your dad comes to see him. I think you have some messages maybe with him. What's your overview about the situation and what he had to go through for his first ever weekend in Formula One?
Well, firstly, he didn't ask for a selfie. I asked him to take a selfie because I know that he's a supporter, been a supporter growing up, which is really, really, really nice. And so when he came over to me and he made some really nice comments, and so we had a nice little discussion on the parade. And then as we were leaving, I said, take a photo because it's your first race and it's my first race with Ferrari, so let's remember it. And then, of course, I know what it's like to have your first Grand Prix and the pressure that you have with it. And it was the worst conditions that you could have your first race. You got the worst conditions, so slippery. And obviously, he had his off on the formation lap, and I know how it feels. It's a horrible feeling. One, from yourself, because you've practiced so much, you've prepared so well, and then something like that happens. And then two, with how people look upon you and the negativity you feel like that's incoming. So I think it was really important. I remember what it was like at the beginning, and I really wanted to try to be there as much as I can for Isack. My door's open. We can always have conversations moving forwards, and also just know that one race doesn't defy you. He's got lots of opportunities up ahead, and just keep your head up. And it's not like how you fall, it's how you get back up.
Hi Luis, how are you? Obviously Australia didn't go as planned, but what positives do you take out of that first weekend as a Ferrari driver?
The only positive is that we got through it. There were some positives in practice. The car was feeling pretty good in practice, so I think the positives are that we learned from our mistakes. We learned from where we had the car and where perhaps we could have put the car elsewhere, and we'll try and apply that this weekend and see if we can extract more from the car. Thanks.
Hi, Luis.
Hi.
Could you please describe the ideal communication workflow between a driver and a race engineer on the track, on the radio, and also the way how you get there?
There's not an ideal. Every driver requires different information. Every driver, like George, for example, likes a lot of information, or he used to. When I was racing with him, liked a lot of information. For me, I don't need like a lot of information. It can sometimes be overbearing and overloading. But it's the relationship between Bono and I, it took years for us to it took so much time for us to learn each other and learn, because he had worked with previous drivers and they required a different amount of information. So you just, bit by bit, trial and error, you try it, different things along the way, and eventually you gel. And Ricky and I are Riccardo and I are getting on super well. And that was our first race together.
Yeah.
That was the first time he was having to throw those balls into the cockpit, and we dealt with 90+% of those totally fine. And afterwards we just talk and say, hey, this is the bit that I did need, and this is the bit that I didn't need. And it's like, no problem. Next time we'll do it differently. And that's really how it is. I don't know why everyone's been so negative about it, because if you go and...
It wasn't a negative question.
No, I'm not saying for you, but generally the media have been talking about it, and I was polite. I was like, I always said please at the end, even though I was racing. And when you look at some of the other drivers who have been super vocal, almost abusive, with their engineers, have taken batterings for years, and mine didn't even take a battering. And there was a couple of individuals that were quite rude on how we spoke.
Yeah.
So but anyways, it's something you learn along the way. So from race to race, we're going to get stronger together, and that's the most important part.